Wouldn't it be great if you could trade while you are working full time, in a way that you could increase your trading skills over time, getting better trading every day while you keep your full time job? And not only swing trading, I mean to be able to actually day trade without needing to spend the whole day in front of your charts, not requiring to spend dozens of hours looking for trading opportunities and managing your trades? Well, there is such a way to do that. Hey everyone, I'm Pedro, and today I'm going to break down the three main steps that allow you to day trade while you keep working on your full time job. And not only I'm going to break down the strategy that I use to trade, but also how you should manage your time and prepare yourself to be able to day trade properly and grow your small account. Before we get started, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and click the alert notification. As a quick disclaimer, I will never encourage you to leave your full-time job while you are still learning how to trade. What I'm showing you today are different trading approaches that you can use to trade financial markets, and it's a way where you don't need to rush your learning curve, you don't need to feel pressure to make money for a living from trading, and that's actually the perfect scenario to start trading. Unless, of course, you have plenty of money or other sources of revenue and you don't need your job income to pay your bills. But that's not the case for most of people. So let's get started. The first and most important thing is time. You need to know how to find time. And we all have the same 24 hours each day. And if you work 9 to 5, it gets harder to find time to trade. But don't worry, you can get around it. When we have limited time to trade, one of the most important things is to focus on the open of the markets. We have the open of the London session, we have the open of the US session, and we also have the open of the Asian session. And those are moments where the market tends to have a high volatility. And high volatility means that you can take fast trades, quick trades. You can enter a trade and quickly close it after a few minutes, and your day is done. And this is what I do every day. I trade both the London session and the US session, but depending on where in the world you live, it may be better for you to trade different sessions. So when I trade the London session opens at 8 a.m. GMT time. And it's a great moment to start trading futures, especially DAX, which is the German index. And since we are in the London session, in the European session, DAX tends to move better than other indices like US indices, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the others. The only thing that we can't trade at this moment are stocks because the US stock market is closed, and the US stock market, it's the one that it's more popular, it's the one that moves better, that has more volatility. In Europe, the stock market doesn't have such big volatility, but I trade DAX and it delivers some great setups that we can trade right at the open. And a lot of times, in a few minutes, in 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm done for the day, sometimes even less than that. So it's a very good moment to trade when you have lack of time. And here you can see an example of what I trade and how I do it. But if you watch my other videos, I have more detailed explanations about the strategy that I use. But mainly I use the 200 moving average, I use the 20 moving average, and I use the 8 moving average. And I wait for the open of the markets. You can see here the volumes increasing, this big volume bar that we see here, and that belongs to this big red candle here. And this big red candle ignited the price to the downside. The price was rejected by all these three moving averages and it ignited to the downside. And this is where I would take a trade. I would wait for the break of this first candle. That's where I would hit my sell button. I would short DAX. And then I would just wait for one or two legs to the downside. Usually I like to wait for a break of a previous low. And when the price breaks a previous low, then you can start unloading your position or trailing your position. And you can see here that in 2, 4, 6, 8 minutes, between 6 and 8 minutes, your day would be done, your trade would be done. And you just need one trade per day to do your day trade, and then you can go to your job or you can go do any other thing that you need to do during that day. So this is what I do when I trade the London session. The open of the London session, I trade VAX on the 2 minute time frame. Then a few hours later, we have the open of the US market. And the open of the US stock market brings again a lot of volatility to the markets. And at this time, we can choose between trading indices futures as well as US stocks. So this is a great time. We have plenty of other markets that we can choose from. When we trade indices, we only have a few that we can choose from. We have Nasdaq, we have Dow Jones, we have S&P 500, and we can also trade DAX during the open of the US market. But besides that, we have plenty of stocks. We have hundreds or thousands of stocks that we can trade from. So, but what is the main problem here? The main problem is that we have that huge amount of stocks and we need to know which ones to choose. On my Discord trading chat room, we trade both futures and stocks. But since there is a big amount of stocks, and for someone that is still struggling to know which stocks to trade, I usually post a watch list of the stocks that I'm looking at and that I'm going to trade. And everyone can use that watch list to trade. Here you can see some of the trades that I take, and here are some examples. For example, this one, it was a stock GOEV that opened with a gap, the gap to the downside. I waited for the first 2 minute candle to close, and here you can see that the first 2 minute candle closed below my three moving averages, the 200, the 20 and 8 moving average. So I just waited for the price to break the low of this first candle. I let the price go down and then I started unloading my position and I closed everything right here. And you can see that this was the open and each candle represents 2 minutes of time. So this was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 minutes, 12, 14. I actually held my trade for 14 minutes, which was more than what usually I hold them. But you can see that in just a few minutes you can take a trade and get out and go to your job and do whatever you need to do. And I can show you another example. This was a second trade that I took on the same day. This was the first 2 minute candle. I could have shorted here, but I didn't. I waited for another pullback that happened here again. And we see that all the moving averages are on the upside of the price. So I waited for this green candle to be broken. That happened in this red candle. That's where I shorted. I entered my position. I shorted this stock, and after 2, 4, 6, 8 minutes I closed my trade and my day was done here. My trade was done here. And every day you can take trades like this. You can see here another example of a trade that I took. The price opened above the moving averages. It had a gap to the upside. I waited for the close of the first candle, and as soon as the price broke the high of the candle I went long and I closed my trade right there. And this was a trade that took 2, 4, 6 minutes and it stopped. At the same time, I took another trade at the same day. This one was on NNOX and the price started with a big red candle, so I decided to short it. It had a lot of room before the price hit the moving average that was coming up. So I waited for the price to break that first candle. That's when I hit my sell button and I shorted the stock, and I waited 1, 2, 3 pushes. That's 8 minutes after the open. I closed my trade and I was done. And this was all on the same day. I traded 2 stocks. I think I traded even another one. But you can see the kind of trades that are very fast and that you can take at the open of the markets. You can take just one of these trades and you're done for the day. You can go for your job. You can do whatever you want. And you can see another example here. This one is PLTK, and this is also the 2 minute time frame. So we have the first candle of the open of the market. Here this first candle was very close to the moving averages, so I wouldn't dare to short this because this would be a support for the price to pass and it could have trouble. So I just waited to go long. And when did I go long? I went long when the price broke the high of this first candle. I waited one, two, three pushes and then I closed my trade and I was done for the day. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 minutes, guys. You take a trade that takes 6, 8, 10 minutes and you're done. You don't need to day trade for the whole day. If you have a good watch list and you know what to do, your trading couldn't be more simple. It couldn't be simpler than this, and it couldn't be faster than this. In a few minutes, you're done. And what if you can't trade the open of the markets? Well, you can trade the close of the markets. When the US session closes or is about to close, there is a high volatility again coming to the market. And that high volatility appears during the last hour of the market, which is called the power hour, and it's between 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And that volatility is caused by a lot of traders that are closing their positions. They open trades during the day and then they are waiting for the end of the day to close their positions. And that close of the positions makes the price to move a lot and delivers great opportunities very similar to the ones that you saw on the open of the markets. So if you are not available to trade during the open of the market of the US stock market, maybe you have time to trade the last hour of the US stock market. And the same way, in a few minutes, you can take some quick trades in and out in 4, 6, 8 minutes, and your trading day is done. It's as simple as this, guys. And then be creative with the time that you have available. Depending on the place of the world where you live, you may have a lunch break, you may have time during the lunch break, and probably the open of the market it's during your lunch break. Or if you are the kind of trader that likes to open the positions at the open of the market, you can use your lunch break to manage your positions and eventually close them or open some new ones. So this is a time where you can also use to trade the markets and to see what's going on and if you need to do something to eventual trades that you have open. Another possibility is to work remotely. Nowadays there are already a lot of people that work remotely. If you don't work and if your job allows it, you can eventually ask your boss to work at home. And if you already work at home, you can adapt the time that you work, adapt your schedule, adapt the free time that you have to trade when the markets are open, and use other times when the markets are closed or when the markets are not good to trade. Use that time to do your regular job, your main job, your full-time job. And then we come to the point number 2. You need to be prepared. You need to know exactly what you are going to do. If you are going to wake up very early and take a very quick trade and be in and out of your trade in just a few minutes, a lot of times you need to know what you are going to do. You don't just get to your charts and look at your charts quickly and the trade will just appear in front of your eyes, especially if you are trading stocks. You need to know what stocks to trade, so you need to be prepared. And how can you prepare it? You can plan your trades at night. You know that most of the trading work is done before trading. You analyze the past price action of the stocks, you look for charts that look good to keep moving on higher time frames, you search for stocks that had news on that day or that are going to have news while the market is closed. And this can help you to make a list of stocks to trade and define the direction that you want to trade and where are your targets going to be. And this way, when the market opens, you already know what you are going to do. You just need to act. You don't need to analyze anything. You don't need to search. You don't need to spend unnecessary time and losing potential good opportunities that are already appearing. And the best opportunities appear actually right at the open, and that's something that I do on my trading room. I post that watch list of my favorite stocks to trade right at the open, and that helps a lot everyone that doesn't have time to make their own watch lists or that they are still struggling to find them. And if you want to be done after the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, you already need to know what you want to trade before the market opens. Another thing that you can do is to wake up early. If you can't do it at night, do it at the morning. Depending where you live in the world, this can be a great solution. Wake up early, do your research job, and be prepared for the open of the markets. This way, you just need to execute. You take your quick trades before going to work, and your trading is done. Another thing very useful are pending orders, and they work like robots trading for you. You just need to tell them what to do. And that's a great approach to trading if you can't be at your computer looking at the charts. And especially if you plan your entries based on higher time frames, you can set pending orders, and when the price reaches that zone, your trade is activated. And in the same way, you can leave pending orders to close your trades, either in profit or in loss if the price eventually comes against you. But you don't want to arrive home and see a stock that you bought and that has been collapsing through the whole day and it ate all your account money. You can't let something like that to happen. And when you use pending orders, you can control all these important factors. And most of brokers have these types of orders, so you shouldn't have any problem to trade this way. And besides pending orders, you can also use alerts. So if you don't know exactly if you want to trade at that place, you want to look at the candles, you want to look at the price action. Instead of using a pending order, you can just set an alert. And when the price reaches a zone that it's a level that for you is important to trade, you get an alert on your smartphone, for example, and you can eventually take a quick look at the markets during your job. If your boss doesn't see it, you can just take a quick peek at the markets. You quickly open your platform, you see if it's a good or a bad opportunity to trade. You do what you have to do, open your trade if that's the case, you set your stop loss, you set your take profit, and then you just close it again and forget about that trade. That's also a great option to be able to trade during the day and when you are working. And point number 3, and this one is very important. Since you have very limited time during the week, you should use your weekend. Trading is a business. I see a lot of people saying, I'm done trading for today, now I'm going to work. But that mindset is completely wrong. If you want to trade for a living, you need to change that mindset. When you don't look at trading as a job, as a business, you will never get serious about it. You will never do what it takes to get better and better. And trading is a job, and it's your second job if you only do it on part time. And treat it like that. Give it the same effort that you give to your 9 to 5 job. It's not less important than your 9 to 5 job. An important part to be able to trade successfully comes from study. You need to keep a trading journal. You need to analyze what you trade. You need to know how you managed your trades. You need to know what went wrong, what went right. And if the time that you have during the week is very short, you use the weekend to do that. You can review the charts, you can review the movements of the stocks, and some brokers and platforms even allow you to simulate trading with past data. You just need to put them running and trade it like if you are trading in real time. That's a great thing to do to practice and to gain experience. You need to understand that you will need to make sacrifices. You'll need to go out less times, and we all like to go out, we all like to socialize with our friends, or go out for a dinner, or go out for some drinks and arrive home late. But sacrificing some of that will improve your growth as a trader. But remember that later you will be rewarded for all this effort. Avoid distractions. Distractions drain your free time from you. Watch less Netflix. Do you have an empty room at home? That's great, go there. No TV. Leave your smartphone away. Make sure that you close the Facebook and YouTube from your browser. Use that room as a distraction clean space and focus on your trading tasks. Focus on your trading studies. And maybe you'll need to sleep a few hours less, but when you do it, and when you don't give up, you are already one step ahead. You are already closer to the level where you'll be able to quit your job and start trading for a living. All these points that I mentioned are part of the process of becoming a full time trader. And you should also keep doing them even after you are already a full time trader. But remember that when that time comes, you don't have your 9 to 5 job anymore. You will have plenty of time to make your trading tasks and plenty of time to do all the other things that you enjoy in your life. If trading is something that you love, if trading is something that you really want, then just act now. Start today and do something great. You can do it. Now guys, tell me in the comments what are you going to sacrifice and what are you going to do to be a better trader, and what are you going to do to be able to quit your 9 to 5 job. And if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, and I see you on the next one.